Are you collecting podcasts? Are you hoarding podcasts? How many episodes are sitting in your queue right now untouched? Most founders don't have an information problem, they have a time to signal problem, because the best insight from a 2-hour podcast might be 90 seconds long. The rest is noise, banter, setup, ego. And it's great, but what if you could skip straight to the parts that actually change how you think? Not summaries, not bullet points, the real voices, the real moments, just compressed. It's like having a DJ for your brain, dropping only the insights worth remembering. Now think about this as a founder. You're trying to figure out hiring or pricing or how to raise your next round. Of searching Google, you pull from hundreds of podcast conversations, instantly curated to what you care about. Now, what the host thinks matters, what you think matters, and over time, your podcast DJ can learn what you save, what you replay, what actually hits. So it stops being a podcast player and becomes your personal knowledge engine. You're no longer consuming content, you're extracting leverage. And Kevin from Snipd, the world's best podcast player, has created exactly that, a podcast DJ. If your future is shaped by what you pay attention to, are you designing your inputs or letting them design you? Welcome to AI for Founders, I'm Ryan Estes. Today you're going to learn how Kevin from Snipd is rethinking how we consume information, turning podcasts into personalized, high-signal learning systems. This is for founders who want to move faster, think clearer, and build with better inputs than everyone else. And if you want more ideas like this, go to aiforfounders.co and grab the newsletter. It's where founders are quietly building unfair advantages. It's free, it's sharp, it compounds. And if this made you think, leave a review that feels like a signal. And a quick word from our sponsor, inboxalchemy.co is the #1 distribution motion for founders. Because building an audience with email means you own it for life. No algorithms, no reach drops, no platform risk. They help you grow a targeted audience of your ideal customers with 20,000 subscribers delivered in your first 6 months. Weekly, founder-led newsletters written for you, with you, and as you. This isn't content, it's leverage. Go to inboxalchemy.co and start building the one asset no one can take from you. All right, Kevin, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Ryan. Yeah, great to be back.
Yeah, so for folks that didn't catch our first episode, we're talking to Kevin, the founder, CEO of Snipd. That's snipd.com. And if you don't have it, stop this podcast right now. Go to snip.com and download the world's best podcast player. Now, since I've spoke to Kevin the first time, and we'll put that in the show notes again, so you can learn all about the origin story of Snipd. I use Snipd every day. It's absolutely amazing. And not only is discoverability like super easy to find the kind of podcast you want, the kind of podcast that you learn from on a daily basis, but there's some amazing features that you literally can't find anywhere else. One is actually creating real-time notes. So you just tap your AirPods and it pulls a snip of that podcast part. So basically what you're doing is creating all these short snippets of all the best insights from the podcast that drive your life, they drive your business, they drive your relationships. It's absolutely brilliant. So Kevin, I'm so glad you're here to talk about some really new cool features from Snipd. So start us off. What have you been working on, sir?
Well, first of all, that was a great summary. We have to use you for our marketing. So we've been working on an amazing new feature. We call it AI DJ. And basically, an AI DJ, you can activate the AI DJ anytime you listen to a podcast episode. And what it will do, it will guide you through the best moments of a podcast episode. So this is for all of these episodes. I don't know how it is for you, but let me maybe start with my situation. I have more than 400 podcast episodes queued up. And every single day, there are more and more coming in. They all sound so incredible. I would love to listen to all of them. But the reality is I do not have enough time. And in the past, I've tried out summaries. But look, the reality is summaries, if created, like independent of whether they're created by AI or humans, it will never replace the real actual thing. And AI DJ is basically now our solution to this problem, where for all of those episodes where you won't get around to listening to them, but you still want to get something out of it, you still want to hear the best moments, you can now start listening to it, activate AI DJ, and the AI DJ will jump in. It's an AI voice. It will analyze the episode, identify the best moments of the episode and then guide you through them one by one.
Incredible. I love it. It makes total sense because so many of the podcasts I listen for information, sometimes I get a little bit bored with the banter. You know what I mean? Those guys will start the All In podcast, those guys will start ribbing on each other, or they're talking about their billionaire problems. And I'm just like, dude, let's get to the note, or let's get to the news part. Like, give me the information that's making you guys lose sleep at night. I'm interested in that. So what a brilliant idea. Now, it's kind of like it has a kind of historical precedence too. It's like the Cliff Notes. When I was a student, it's like I couldn't read Shakespeare. I would get lost. I can't understand the language. So I get the Cliff Notes, which gives me the highlights so I can stick with the plot.
Yeah. I mean, here, I think the most important thing here is I'm not 100% actually familiar with the Cliff Notes format, but I think really one big distinction to a lot of other things that have been tried in the past is really that you are still listening to the actual podcast, the actual episode. So in the All In podcast, you're still listening to the 4 billionaires, or, not all of them are billionaires. And, you actually get to hear the original voices, the original intonation, the jokes, all of the little details that make podcasts so great. But yeah, it jumps to the moments that are the most relevant, most important. And with that, you can, basically the promise that we're making is you can get through a podcast episode at 25% the duration, which means that you can now listen to 4 times as many podcast episodes.
I love it. Well, and for some of us who are used to listening to our podcasts at 1.5 speed or 2.2 speed, if you're really feeling alert, this actually, is an order of magnitude greater than that. And another great case is like Rogan. Rogan is notorious because he'll have really random guests on sometimes that nobody's ever heard of. And it's like, well, do I want to invest 3 hours into this guy? So you could pop in this, it'll give you the highlights. And then you're like, ooh, actually I do, and then you come back and you can listen to the whole thing. So it's just an absolute brilliant idea. So I'd love to peek back the curtain a little bit and kind of learn how, you're determining what are the highlights in the episode. How are you kind of using AI to determine what are the bright spots that are going to be kind of maybe, outline really the bulk of the episode itself.
Yeah. So it starts at the episode. The AI gets access to the entire episode. It knows basically gets the entire transcript. Who are the guests? We enrich it with some meta information about the guests, the shows. And now the AI is basically tasked to identify what is the main theme of the episode. What is really at the core of it? What are the core takeaways, the core insights? And then go through the episode and identify where do they talk about it. And then in a final step, actually try to create a coherent listening experience for you. Because that is one of the most important things in audio. If you were just listening to random clips, one after another, without anything else, it's very disorienting. Because it's not like being on TikTok. Basically, if you're on TikTok, a lot of the information is communicated via visual, via images. And you do not have that in audio. So it can be very disorienting, and all of this context switching can feel quite annoying. So basically the last task of the AI is to identify those clips that then work together well, and then create segues between them, create an intro to understand what the next highlight is.
Okay, so create an intro. So is there actually like a narrator?
Yes, so you can think of the AI DJ as basically a moderator. So the AI DJ will come on, it will give you a very quick global introduction of the entire episode. Who are the guests? What show is this on? What will they be talking about? And then introduce each highlight clip.
Incredible.
And at the very end, you even get an outro. Basically, at the very end, it gives you just as a quick reminder, here are 1 or 2 things that you should be taking away from this episode and not forget.
Love it. It's so interesting how entertainment is cyclical, because it's now you want a DJ to help curate the information and trim away the fat, which is very similar to in the 50s, the 50s and 60s, where you had these amazing DJs with the cool DJ voices that were bringing you the music, but in between they'd have the little intros and outros, and they were basically filtering everything out. They're like, this is the good stuff. Here you go. Give you the weather and traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, one comparison or analogy that I really like is if you think about sports. If I'm personally, I grew up in Europe. I'm big into what we call football, what you call soccer, and a match is 90 minutes long. Like together with all of the halftime and everything that's around it, it's like 2 hours of your time that goes into it. And that is amazing, for the big match that you're really looking forward to. You're going to sit there, you're going to watch the entire 2 hours, maybe with your friends. It's going to be an incredible experience. But then at the same time, on the same day, there were 10 other matches going on that you'd also love to still, you still want to see the highlights, right? But you're not going to watch 10 times 2, 20 hours of additional match content, right? So the way that I see the world is this is not an either or. It's not like, oh, now you should be listening to every podcast with the AI DJ. No, you should continue to listen to the podcast that you're really looking forward to in full length. But all of these other ones where you still want to get the highlights, now you can add those to your listening as well.
Love it. And it kind of taps into the TikTok brain that we're all fighting against right now. I am really doing the best I can to stay off the doom scrolling, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It is just an absolute black hole that I'll fall into. And it's an interesting kind of trance. And I guess interesting is being generous. It makes me feel depleted and terrible, to be totally honest. And I have a great algorithm. My algorithm on TikTok is jujitsu matches and fly tying and 90s basketball highlights. It's good. And that's the problem, is that I'll get stuck into that. And, there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like its own TV channel, but it feels like it depreciates my vision. I feel like I have a hard time, focusing after that. It kind of also takes my presence away from my home, so if I'm with my family, it's like I'm in TikTok land, so I think a lot of people are feeling this way. That's oh boy, I just get sucked into my phone and 2 hours disappears, and they're looking for alternatives. And I think that this is perfect, because the difference is where there's a creative podcast, or there's a creative process that happens when you're listening to podcasts, particularly on the kind of podcast that you designed Snipd for, which is when people are going to these shows for tools and resources to enrich their life, to contribute to human flourishing. So there's an exchange that's happening, because you're getting information, and it's just throwing sparks in your brain, and it's a building communicative process. And so instead of entertainment, which might be the other scrolling apps, which just kind of seems to be more of a consumption, this is much more of a constructive building process, in my opinion. This episode is brought to you by a dangerous idea. It's called reading. Specifically the AI for Founders newsletter. 47,000 founders strong now, and it's the good stuff. No top 10 AI tools that will change your life written by someone who doesn't ship product. It's just real breakdowns of what's actually working in AI. Who's raised, who failed, who pivoted, and which founders quietly built $1 million in ARR while everyone else was arguing on X. It's written for people building with AI. Every week you get tactical frameworks, unfair advantages, breakdowns of real companies, and the occasional existential question about whether your startup is intelligent or just well-branded. It's free, it's sharp, it might mildly offend your current workflow. Go to aiforfounders.co and subscribe before your competitor does. Because the only thing worse than being replaced by AI is being replaced by a founder who reads. That's the newsletter at aiforfounders.co. Now back to the show. This episode is brought to you by MoBurst, the AI-first growth engine trusted by iconic startups like Calm, Robinhood, Reddit, Uber, and Google. MoBurst is a digital full-service mobile-first marketing agency that helps companies to scale and become category leaders. Whether you're finding product market fit or ready to accelerate growth, MoBurst delivers creative, data-driven solutions that help with scale and efficiency and impact. At MoBurst, we're not just guessing what works, we're predicting it. As an AI-first agency, Moburst uses cutting-edge tools to analyze user behavior, adapt creative in real time, and uncover hidden growth opportunities. The result, marketing that's faster, smarter, and built to convert. From early-stage startups to global brands, we've helped hundreds of companies overcome complex challenges, unlock new audiences, and optimize every metric that matters. At Moburst, we believe that creative thinking, advanced technology, and data are the core drivers of success at scale. If you're serious about scaling your business with precision and purpose, it's time to talk to Moburst. Visit moburst.com and let's build something category-defining together.
Yeah. I see it the exact same way. And that is exactly why we built Snipd in the first place. For all of these incredible podcasts that are out there that are not just about distracting you from the real world, but they're actually there to provide you with valuable information, the building blocks that help you in your life, and give you a lot of knowledge at the end of the day. And that's the incredible thing. It's still nonetheless being entertaining. It's still an enjoyable process. It's not like having to go back to school where you were just all the time waiting for the bell to ring.
Yeah.
It's an incredible mixture that was created in podcasts where just like it seemed like from every angle it sort of came together to have this great mixture of being informative and valuable, like this nourishing. Nutritious, let's use that word.
Yeah.
But at the same time still being entertaining and enjoyable.
Totally. Yeah, it's amazing. And again, thank you for Snipd. I absolutely love it. I mean, particularly, and I found myself, I use it very specifically for these kind of podcasts. And it almost becomes like a separate playlist that I have that I can go to, you know, in similar way, like if I go to Spotify, I have my playlist. It's like, I know Snipd is like my business podcasts, you know, where I can have, like I have Lenny's on there and the Startup Ideas podcast and All In and Alex and Leela Hermazi and my podcast. And like, I'm just pulling from them, Ready Startup, Huberman Lab, How I Built This, American Life, like all the stuff I want to be tapped into, the Glenn Show, you know, so I can have all those in one place because I subscribe to so many different podcasts. And so now if I use a different podcast player, that's more for like end of the day, you know, where I'm like, I just kind of want to check out and put on some like Old West podcasts and learn about Kit Carson and what he was doing tromping around in the Southwest. Great. You know, I'm not necessarily like trying to like save snippets of that to like help me the next day. But now Snipd has really become kind of my go-to, which is really, really cool. And I love it for that reason. So as a podcaster, what can I do to help tee up the best parts for the DJ? Because I think this feature is going to be copied very quickly. You're first to market with this, so everybody should go get it now while, you know, this is the only place you can. But I think it's going to be a very popular feature. And as a host, what I want to be able to do is give the good parts very obviously to the DJ, which would basically be just edit me out completely and then just intro, basically become my co-host with the DJ. Is there ways that podcasters can kind of tee up the best spots?
It's an interesting question. I haven't thought about that too much. I would argue the best thing for the podcast host to do is the same thing as it's always been. It's create valuable, amazing content. Yeah. So with respect to tying out like the best moment, like that's one of the interesting things, and maybe we can talk about that in the context of what are we trying to do? Like, what's the bigger vision of the AI DJ? Because this is actually just the first feature of our bigger vision. Because what the best moment or the most valuable insight of an episode is might be different for me than it is for you, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it actually very difficult for you as the host to say, no, look, this is the most important moment of this entire episode, because it might be very different for very different users. So in this very first feature that we now released, you are actually getting the same highlights as everyone else. But in the future versions, what we're really working towards is the AI DJ becoming this personalized and customizable AI agent that goes out and finds the best content for you and curates it.
Yeah.
So for any episode, so starting with just on an episode level, it will know, okay, what are the insights that you usually care about? And it will select those for you. And if it doesn't do the job that you want it to do, you can just tell it. So you will be able to just prompt it in natural language and say, hey, you know what, for Lenny's podcast, for example, I always want to have the lightning round at the end, or like the books that get recommended. Because for someone else, it might be, no, I'm not interested in that. But for you, that's really important. So it will always select that for you. But then the next step, and that's something that we're actually working on now, is the next release. Is you just mentioned it yourself. Like, you're subscribed to a lot of podcasts. Like me myself, I'm subscribed to at least 100 shows out there. Most of the time, I end up just listening to the same, 3, 4, 5 shows that I'm sort of geared towards. But every now and that is sort of fine. But every now and then I notice, hey, there was actually an incredible episode on one of the shows that I am subscribed to, but I entirely missed it.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do here is, again, the AI DJ actually not just going through a single episode, but going through all of the episodes that you're subscribed to, all of the shows, and then finding, hey, you know what, from last week, it will go through all of the episodes that you haven't listened to and being like, hey, here are some great insights for you that you missed last week. Here's a digest, 1 hour long. You'll get the 6 best highlights, and you can now listen to that on, Sunday evening to wrap up your week.
I love that. Yeah. So I could say, like, hey, right now I'm really interested in peptides. So if anything from my podcast feed is mentioning peptides, it sends it to the top of the list. Like, hey, this is actually a doctor is doing an hour on peptides. You totally missed it. And it can bring it to the top of your queue. I love that. So you can start to guide, because, that's the thing, is that you only have so much attention and willpower. And honestly, like, if you have a couple of favorites, you're just going to be like, there's 12 episodes, but I'm just going to go back to Hormozi because I want that juice this morning, which is
Exactly.
brilliant. And it's interesting. You talked about context too, which is huge, because it feels like AI is getting better. But like, if you talk about like making clips for the podcast, you have Opus clips, you got Descript, you got Fireside, you got all these different things that will create the video clips for you. And part of the problem is, like, a lot of times it's a little frustrating because you're like, 1 or 2 of those were good, but also some of them weren't as good. Now, what's interesting about Snipd is you have a massive context window of thousands of people creating thousands of clips on podcasts. So is there a way to like say, like, hey, I had 12 people that snipped this part in Lenny's podcast, so the DJ is gonna prioritize that because it's getting validated from other people?
Exactly. That is one of the biggest, like, we're actually the only podcast app in the world that has the data of knowing which moments of an episode, inside of an episode, which moments were the most valuable to the users, because we have the snipping functionality. Every time an incredible moment happens, the user tap their headphones to save it. And this is exactly what we can feed back into the algorithm to make this selection much more valuable to the user, and also personalize it. So the one is basically the call it the hive brain, the entire community realizing, like, oh, here, this is the most snipped moment of this episode, but also the personalization aspect of, well, you always save these the book recommendations on Lenny, so we better incorporate them here. And it's interesting, like you mentioned Opus Clip and Descript and all of these tools, which are amazing. If you're a podcast creator, I really recommend trying them out. However, there's one fundamental shift which I believe will happen in the future, independent of us, and that is that if you as a podcast creator use Opus Clip, it is basically the same as what you were describing earlier. Like, you as the host are deciding which moments are the most valuable, and then you're putting them out there. But I believe in the future, it will be you, the user, that will have control. You will be able to talk to the algorithm and also customize it in natural language. And the AI agent that works for you will be able to select the clips that are most valuable to you, and the AI agent will know you the best. So this is something that I believe is a fundamental shift that will slowly start to happen. And you can see other media platforms also starting to talk about this. And basically, this AI DJ feature is already going in that direction.
So cool. And I'm just kind of wrapping my head around it, like as we're talking here, because it's almost like it becomes like Wikipedia, where you're like, I want this kind of information right now, and go to the podcast that I subscribe and love, and pull out the information that's germane to where I'm at right now, which is incredible. I mean, it seems
you
super.
can imagine if you're a founder, it's the first time that you're hiring a lot of people, you'll in the future be able to go to your AI DJ and tell it, hey, can you get me all of the hiring advice from some of the most successful entrepreneurs out there? Like pick them from my favorite podcasts, right? Diary of a CEO, Lenny, Lex, whatever your favorite shows are. And then the AI DJ will go out there, find them for you, and play them. Yeah.
Totally. It's great. I'd be like, I just want to hear all Bill Burr rants. I want Bill Burr completely losing his mind. Just pull them all out for me.
Okay, how much time do you have?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, we have 96 hours for you. Like, oh, great. This is going to be an awesome week. Man, so cool. What else is coming down the pipe? Is there anything you can discuss now?
So we're really locked into the AI DJ, this vision, what I just described. So this is really what we're focused on right now. And I would say the other things are more small topics and around that. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, I want to make sure we talk about all the features. Now, what I love about Snipd is a very elegant app. You can just put on, play a podcast like you're used to. No problem.
Yes.
But it has all these additional features if you're interested in that. With podcasts, we talked about a couple, but you can do it with audiobooks. You can do it on YouTube. You can export everything to Notion, which is super helpful. Not just Notion, you can export it all over the place. You can share your snips with friends, colleagues, the way that you share everything else. It creates transcripts. It creates a list of mentioned books. Like you mentioned that Lenny always does the 5 books or the books that you would pay for someone to have. It'll pull that for you. It takes quotes. It does auto chapters, custom AI prompting, as you talked about. It lists all the guests on the podcast, and then you can search other podcasts by those guests, which I think is super helpful, because a lot of times that's how you find great new podcasts, is because they're guests on other people's shows. And then you're like, oh, what else are they doing? Oh, they have a podcast. Oh, they were on Huberman. Oh, and you can start to follow them around, which really reminds me of what I loved about music, and how I learned about jazz in the beginning was because I would buy hip hop records, and then you'd see the list of samples and you're like, oh, who's Roy Ayers? Who's Freddie Hubbard, and then you go find them. And it's like this discovery process that podcast has been lacking for a long time. But I think you're really chiseling away at it, of like, this is how you start to find your little niches and your little new shows, is through the guest discovery. And of course, it has multiple languages, up to 26 different languages. Are there any other features that I'm missing here?
No, I think that was a quite comprehensive list. One feature that you forgot was the ability to chat with a podcast episode. So the same way that you can chat with ChatGPT, if you have a question or you want to search for a certain moment or extract a certain quote out of it and you don't remember where it was, you can just chat with it like ChatGPT.
Yeah, which is super helpful when there is like the deep science episodes, where halfway in there, they mention this great recipe for a high protein pancake. And you're like, I don't know where it was. It was somewhere in there between something else. You can just ask it, hey, what was that recipe for high protein pancakes? Bang.
Yeah.
You got it.
You can get key stats out of it. Also custom summaries. Some people love having afterwards, like sort of a custom summary of it. Or other people that are very, very specific about what do they want to get out of the podcast episode. You can ask that beforehand, like, hey, will they actually cover this topic? Because this is what I care about. And then you jump directly into that moment.
Amazing. We're going to keep this short and sweet, and I will post our original podcast episode in the show notes, which is awesome because it really goes into the how and the why and the where in a big way, because Zurich plays a big part in the development of what you've been working on, and also your friends, who I've gotten to know a little bit through this podcast. So I really appreciate you making those introductions. That's been super cool to see what everybody's doing there in Switzerland, which also seems like kind of tip of the spear in what's going on in technology right now. I know you had a baby recently, so congratulations there. Have you found any?
Thank you.
Have you found any good parenting podcasts, or perhaps something more baby oriented that you've been listening to?
Actually, I haven't started with a parenting podcast yet. No.
I never found a good parenting podcast.
Currently I'm trying to rely mostly on my instincts. Oh, I did listen to an audiobook that I very much liked, about, let's call it parenting. It's called The Book I Wish My Parents Had Read. Yeah. So I listened to that on Snipd. Yeah, I can recommend that.
Seems appropriate for our generation. Now we're all recovering from the boomers.
Yeah.
Boy, I wish they would have read this one. Amazing. Kevin, this is awesome. Everybody, seriously, stop what you're doing. Hit pause right now. Go download Snipd in the App Store. It's extraordinary. You'll love it. And it's a great way to start fresh too. You know, if you've been listening to podcasts for a decade plus, like most of us, you might just have so many podcasts you never listen to. And so you're missing the good stuff. You know, start over with a fresh podcast playlist on Snipd. I guarantee you're going to love it. I'm going to check out this DJ function today. Is it push live right now?
Yes, it's live. It's live for everyone. One important information is it's currently only available for English podcasts, but I assume for everyone listening that will not be a problem. Yeah. And one additional information. You already have a link. Maybe you can add that to the show notes. With this link, people could get 1 month for free for Snip Premium if they want to try out the premium version. And just give it a shot.
100%. Yeah, please use my link. I am aspiring to be an affiliate of Snipd. If I wasn't so dang busy, I have so much content I want to make around Snipd because I am an evangelist. So I'll definitely use my link and pick that up for a free month of premium. Kevin, this has been awesome. What's the best place that people can connect with you online?
The best place is on Twitter. My user handle is Kevin Ben Smith.
Kevin Ben Smith. Tremendous. I really appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was amazing.
You are about to spend anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 on your kid's college education, and that's not a small bet. And right now, there's a very real chance that they graduate and can't find a job, not because they weren't smart enough, not because they didn't work hard enough, but because the job market changed and nobody told them. Employers are hiring AI native candidates, people who don't just know their field, but know how to work with AI at a professional level. And most colleges are not teaching this, not even close. AInativestudent.com is the program that fills that gap. It takes high school and college students and teaches them how to actually think and work with AI the way top companies expect on day one, so your investment in their degree actually pays off. You're already paying for tuition, housing, textbooks. This is the one thing that actually makes it all worth it. Go to AInativestudent.com because a diploma is a starting point. Being AI native is what gets them hired. That's AInativestudent.com.